I am in Ugak Bay, which is on the southeast side of Kodiak Island. I've been there for 35 years. I have 3 guide use concessions that I hunt, and we do brown bear, mountain goat, Sitka black-tailed deer, sea ducks, fox also on that, and then in the summertime I do fishing for halibut and salmon in the ocean. In 2011 and 12, it was horrendously bad. It probably killed 90% of the deer. I was taking 16 deer hunters a year. I dropped it to 2 or 3. They came back up again. In 16, we had another. It actually got really, really cold, and it froze, and the deer died of thirst. They couldn't find any water because all the creeks and everything froze up. Yeah, the last 4 or 5 years, we've killed some tremendous bears. The biggest one was almost 11 foot and 29.5-inch skull. Stressed everybody. Do it. If you're ever thinking about it, do it, because you're going to wake up with a brain tumor or your appendix is going to explode. And I say that because both of those things have happened to me. If you want to do anything, don't put it off. Set a date for it and go get it done.
Welcome to the RNA Outdoors podcast, fueled by Ripcord Arrow Rest and First Light Hunting Apparel. At RNA, we are public land DIY conservationists that love to share our passion for the outdoors. So join us and our team as we interview professionals in the industry to share insight knowledge that helps make hunters and anglers more successful. Hey listeners, subscribers, and fellow outdoorsmen and women. This is your host, Lucas Paw, and I'm excited to tell you about some of the sponsors that continue to help make this podcast not only happen, but grow and thrive in this digital world of audio content. This podcast is brought to you by Ripcord Arrow Rest, the bowhunter's #1 fall-away rest on the market. Ripcord is known for 100% full-time arrow containment in their patented drop-dead brake system that eliminates launcher bounce back. Best of all, Ripcord is backed by their rock-solid guarantee. If the original owner has a part break for any reason, it will be repaired or replaced at no charge. And did I mention, Ripcord is located in southwest Montana, where all their products are made with pride in America. Check them out at ripcordarrowrest.com and on their social media feeds. This podcast is brought to you by First Light Clothing and Hunting Apparel. Born in the Rockies in central Idaho, First Light's mission is to create simple, yet proven, versatile gear that provides comfort and performance in any situation while working to promote the pursuit of ethical hunting and stewardship. I recently joined the First Light Pro staff team and have continued to be impressed year after year in their innovations in engineering of merino wool fabrics. 10 years ago, they started putting out wool fabrics with camo patterns, and immediately this changed the game. Since then, they offer multiple layering systems and kits in various proprietary patterns and continue to raise the bar with their competition. Find them online at firstlight.com or under their social media feeds. Go farther, stay longer. All right, coming to you from the showroom floor here in Reno at SCI 2019. We are the RNA Outdoors podcast and coming to you live. Got Mr. Jason Quick with us again.
Rocking and rolling and taking notes.
Mr. Brandon Williams, good friend of mine, colleague, and expert podcaster.
Thanks for
welcome back, buddy. And we are here this morning on the last day of SCI with Brian Peterson, master guide and outfitter from Kodiak Island. Brian, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone.
Awesome. So, Brian, maybe just tell us a little bit about your concession and your outfitting business and kind of what you offer and provide.
I am in Ugak Bay, which is on the southeast side of Kodiak Island. I've been there for 35 years. I have 3 guide use concessions that I hunt, and we do brown bear, mountain goat, Sitka black-tailed deer, sea ducks, fox also on that, and then the summertime I do fishing for halibut and salmon in the ocean.
Kodiak Island.
I know. You just got off of it.
It's a mythical place. It's unique. There's nowhere else like it in the world.
Agreed. There is nowhere else in the world like it. Jason, you've been many times. You've shot a brown bear on Kodiak Island.
Actually, that's what drugged Brian into this thing. A few years ago, I was fortunate enough to be able to go on a trip with him and have the experience of a lifetime being on Kodiak Island. And as I tell everybody, if you want to shoot a big brown bear, Brian is the man. And Brian, how many bear hunts? Well, okay, let's start off with the easy one. How many brown bear hunts have you basically guided?
Hundreds. I don't keep track, but it's been almost 40 years, 35 in the same place on Kodiak.
So I knew that was going to be a fun one to start off with for our listeners to go, oh yeah, somebody's gone on a brown bear hunt maybe once or twice, or maybe somebody crazy has gone 4 times, but you're a master guide and you've been on hundreds. And now I know a couple years ago you killed some pretty big bears. Do you remember?
Yeah, the last 4 or 5 years we've killed some tremendous bears. The biggest one was almost 11 foot and 29.5-inch skull.
That is
11 foot.
A couple of them were the biggest bears. Top 3, I can't remember exactly where they placed, but top 3 in the state that year.
Wow.
See?
11-footer. I thought the 9-footer that Bluff charges at 10 paces was big.
Yeah.
They are.
They're all big when they're within that bubble. But,
yeah, absolutely.
But when it comes to some serious brown bears, Brian does it all. And you actually do both seasons, right?
Correct. Spring and fall every year. I run my hunts in the spring from the last 10 days of April to the first 10 days of May, and then the fall, October 25th and November 3rd, which is the first 10 days of the fall season.
Okay. Brian, maybe talk a little bit about kind of your lodge and some of the accommodations that you provide if someone was to come and do a hunt at your concession.
My lodge is 2,500 square feet, very similar to regular house. I got carpeting and hardwood flooring, running water, electricity, washer, dryer, all of that.
Okay.
Put a solar system in for power 2 or 3 years ago, which it's amazing how well that works even on Kodiak when you have
no sun.
Limited days of sunlight, right?
Limited amount of sunshine. In the summer it works really well. In the fall, not quite as well because our days are shorter. But I have 3 guest bedrooms, 2 beds in each room. I take a maximum of 6 people.
Okay.
Television, washer, dryer, shower.
Cool. So all the general amenities someone would need to spend 7 to 10 days.
Yeah, not a rustic cabin or camp or anything like that at all. It's got everything. Very nice furnishings.
But you do offer also, I mean, they could spike camp out if they want to.
I actually, specifically with bear hunts, I offer 2 types of hunts. I offer the lodge hunt where you hunt out of the lodge for the 10 days. We go out by skiff every day. You get dropped off with your guide or you go with me, either one. Generally glassing off the beach or very near the beach. And then I also do a backpack hunt where you get dropped off in another area around the corner where you backpack up a river drainage and set up a spike camp 2 to 3 miles in and then hunt out of that area.
Okay. Bear fencing, obviously, all that on the spike camps?
None.
Wow.
Lucas knows about the climbing up the only the 1,000 feet elevation in order to get through there, and then how many hours did you talk about?
Yeah, I mean it was probably 3 to 4 hour break of alder and Devil's Club just to get to a point where you could actually see deer. And then from there you actually start hunting at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah,
that's what people always get surprised about, Brian, and you probably hear it all the time too, is they're like, oh, it's sea level. Oh, I'm used to hiking all over the place. And then they get on the island, and I know my experience was you get there And then you're like, oh, well, you got a pack on, you got all your stuff and gear, and we were going up the hill, and I'm, oh, yeah, we're only going that knob. Oh, that's not
It's
too
only
bad.
1,500 feet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then it takes you 3.5 hours, and by the time you get there, you're thinking, man, what did I sign myself up for?
Vegetation is thick. The berry brush, alders, and devil's club, and just the grass is often 6 to 8 feet high.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's incredible.
And generally, bear hunting wise, when we hunt earlier in the season for goats, which we do September, October, then you have the brush to deal with. But obviously, you're hiking above that.
Yeah.
Generally, mid-October, all the vegetation dies and goes down. So when we're hunting bears, it's a lot better.
Brian, talk a little bit about your goat hunts and kind of what you offer and
The goat
time of
hunts,
season.
Both bear and goat are drawing permit. The odds historically have been very good for bear because you have to be signed up and contracted in order to apply for it. So it's generally 70, 90%. Goat hunts historically were much lower. There's just one pool that we put in for, but they changed the regulations 2 years ago, where we used to be able to put in for 3 different hunts, one time for each hunt. They now allow us to apply 6 times for one hunt.
Wow.
Okay.
So
More opportunities.
if you put, when you apply, or actually when I apply you all in the same area, and it really increased the drawing odds. We're basically right at 50-50 now, maybe just a touch under.
Wow.
So,
Man.
and the goat hunts have taken off a lot just
Sure.
because of that. We did 13 goat hunts last year and killed
Wow.
13 billies. 2 of them made Boone and Crockett.
Well, and I noticed that you're in your booth here at SCI. You have the $7,500 up there for a goat hunt. I
Right.
mean, we all know drawing one in the States is really, really tough.
Yeah.
And now
Yeah.
you're offering something that somebody can do.
And
really,
you can go to booking agents around here, and very few of them will have goat hunts for under $13,000. A lot of $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 goat hunts. I think I saw a special they were running for $10,500.
Wow.
Mine are going up to $8,000 next year.
well, I mean, when you have the opportunities, which
Yeah.
is great, and I understand the animals on Kodiak have just really done good in the last couple of years.
It's interesting story. I worked with an old gentleman years and years ago who used to be head of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. And at that time, I found out that my yard, where my lodge is, was the original pen where they transported and left the goats in 1953.
Wow, that's crazy.
Matter of fact, 2 of the steel fence posts in my garden fence are from the goat
From that
fence
original fence.
in 1953. And so
That's cool
we're
history.
right in the heart of where they transplanted the goats.
Okay.
And in our population, I have 4 different goat areas that I hunt and have tremendous population, hundreds of goats.
Well, I
just-
know when
yeah.
I was there, I mean, from where we were set up, of course, and they were always on the side of a freaking cliff, but man, they were there.
It actually, very rarely to never do we get into any of the steep mountains when we're goat hunting, because there's so much area and so many goats. They always come into the areas that are rounded off, flat, roly-poly.
We
up
saw one on the beach.
top of the mountain. Yeah,
We saw
that
when we were
happens.
on the far west end of the island, and we saw them on the beach. I mean, when you leave Kodiak, the city of Kodiak, and you fly out and bush out to where we were in Larson Bay, you're flying right at that level at 1,500, 2,000 feet, and you
Right.
can just see them on
Yeah.
the side of the mountains. It was just incredible seeing the goats there.
And there's lots of them, and they actually want to lower the population. They keep upping permits, but vast majority of the people, of the residents who draw tags, don't even bother going.
Wow.
So
Well-
there are a lot of goats.
You had mentioned earlier, and I really enjoyed it, the duck hunting that you had. In fact, we really did a long trip to go duck hunting at your place. What? It was about 75 yards.
It's actually, we've measured, it's 235.
No way! It seemed like so close.
Yeah, 235 yards down the beach. We have a little cliff. It's a point that sticks out in the bay. We got a little cliff. We sit there, put the decoys out, and you're going to shoot harlequins, Barrow's goldeneye, surf scoters, common scoters, white-winged scoters, occasionally bluebills and buffleheads. And now, for the first time in 36 years, non-residents can hunt emperor geese,
Really?
which is quite the collector's species. You need to draw a permit, which is very difficult to draw, but it is possible.
But it's possible.
And I literally have shot emperor geese for residents. We just need a registration permit. I've literally shot them off of my deck of my lodge.
Wow. The Harlequin are such a cool duck.
They are.
Seeing the guys shoot
it's
those.
Like one of the 3 great collector ducks of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, people
well, only on Kodiak Island, right?
No, they actually go through Southeast and,
okay.
and our other places. They have a season for them in Washington, but I had a guy who hunted with me who went 3 years in Washington, never saw one.
Wow.
On an outfitted Harlequin duck hunt. And so he finally bit the bullet, came to Alaska, and shot his 4. You're allowed to shoot 4 per year. So.
Wow, that's cool.
It is an awesome point to walk out there and just enjoy it and watch them come by and do some fun shooting.
Later in the year, the better. We generally, all through November. But the deer hunts that I do in November, they all include the duck hunting, and that's where we shoot the majority. Later you wait, the more, because they all winter there. So in September, very few ducks around. Season doesn't open until October, but by the time you get to late November, Thanksgiving time, thousands of ducks.
And wrapping into that, now we're talking about deer.
Speaking of deer,
you've killed some really, really large blacktail bucks.
Yeah, for Sitka blacktail, it's about as good as it gets. Our biggest deer was 120 and 3/8, the all-time number 3 deer. I saw another one that was very close to that. The guy actually turned it down because it wasn't big enough. He wanted to shoot a top 10. It had to be a 118, and I said, it's at least a 115, and he said, no, I'm going to wait. But that's hunting. That was his choice.
That was his choice.
We kill, I think I got about a half a dozen awards for killing the top 3 bucks on a guided hunt in the state over the last 10, 15 years, something like that. So
that's awesome.
We have good genetics. The actual limit is 3, but I only hunt 1 buck, and that keeps the quality up. It keeps the numbers up.
Well, wasn't 16 a bad year for winter kill, and have they?
In 2011 and 12, it was horrendously bad. It probably killed 90% of the deer. I was taking 16 deer hunters a year. I dropped it to 2 or 3.
Wow.
They came back up again. In 16, we had another. It actually got really, really cold, and it froze, and the deer died of thirst. They couldn't find any water because all the creeks and everything froze up.
Wow.
We lost some, not a lot. We probably lost 30-40%, but it's come back really well. We've had a real mild winter last year, and this year is real mild also, and projected to stay that way. So our numbers aren't fantastically high like they were, but they're good medium population right now. Back in the 80s, they had 150,000 deer on the island. It was crazy. You could go out and see a dozen shooter bucks in 2 hours.
That's wild.
90 point and bigger bucks in 2 hours. And the population's never approached that again, but you can see dozens of deer.
I mean,
and weather makes a huge difference too, because you can go hike the mountain, do a route, that you do during, and the weather's terrible. You'll see 3 deer, maybe 2 does and 1 buck, or a couple does and a fawn. The very next day, when the sun comes out, you'll see 30, 40 deer, same place.
Well, I know that I was up there with you. After I got my brown bear and we came back to the lodge, and you actually had said, okay, we got a storm front coming in and you guys need to, make it happen. We actually went out on a deer hunt that next day in the rain, and you were right. I mean, where we had seen 30 deer, I think we saw 5 and one forked horn, but it was still an awesome experience. And anybody that hasn't been to Kodiak Island, I mean, Lucas could attest to that. That was your first trip this last year.
Yeah.
Isn't it an addicting place?
It is. To like you were saying, we hunted a few areas where we didn't see deer one day, and we went in basically the similar area the next day, and we were into bucks. So it was just incredible how the deer would move in and out. And we went in mid-October, so it wasn't quite on the front end of the rut, but we saw a lot of nice deer. My brother shot a nice 4x4.
Yeah.
We had a lot of 3x3s taken. We just had a great time. I think there was 10 hunters, and we shot, 18 deer. So a caribou, and we caught a ton of halibut, which I also see that something else that you offer is also salmon and halibut combo fishing.
Yeah, generally late July and August is when I concentrate on that, because my particular area, we oftentimes get a king salmon run in August.
Okay.
And not real huge fish will get up into the 40-pound range. We don't get the 50, 60, 70-pounders, but we get a lot of 20, 30-pounders. And halibut, I caught one that weighed 450 pounds 10 years ago. They're pretty uncommon, but we get a lot of 60, 80-pound fish.
Yeah, we caught a ton of halibut. We ate so good on that boat. Between the halibut and the crab, we went and did some crabbing, and of course we cut some back straps out of the deer and ate that. It was just phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I will tell everybody, for those people that are thinking about coming up and going hunting with Brian, you got to try the spicy pickled beets. Now he has his own garden. I grow
a huge garden, 300-400 pounds of potatoes and every other thing you can imagine. But one of the things I do is I pickle beets, and in every jar I put 3 habaneros in there.
They're awesome.
No wonder why they're so good.
Yeah,
they're awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
They're popular.
Brian, it's just neat getting to know you and looking at some of the offerings that you have. If someone was interested in wanting to, book a hunt with you or get in, basically involved in what you got going on or interested, how would someone want to do that?
The easiest way would be just go to my website, which is ugakbay.com, UGAKBAY. And you can email me right through that. That gives you some of the information about the operation. Has several pictures of the lodge and the boat and many of the trophies we've taken. But the thing I stress to everybody, do it. If you're ever thinking about it, do it, because you're going to wake up with a brain tumor or your appendix is going to explode. And I say that because both of those things have happened to me. If you want to do anything, don't put it off.
Yeah.
Set a date for it and go get it done.
Amen to that.
I like that.
Amen to that. Never put something off till tomorrow that you could do today, because you never know what tomorrow brings.
That's
the only guarantee is today, right?
That's it.
So, Brian, are you at any other shows then? Is this a predominant show you'll do?
This is the predominant show I do.
Okay.
Now, after this, I'm going to go visit some clients around the lower 48, and then I'm going to head back to Alaska.
Okay. And then do you have any openings for this year? Are you pretty well booked in 18 or 19?
I have, I think, one bear opening for this fall of 19. I have a couple bear openings for fall of 19. Goat is completely over and done with. And I'm booking for 2020 and 21 right now on bears.
Cool.
Perfect.
Well, bears on the list.
And I actually have, I think, a week of fishing. And my value on fishing and on the bear hunting is the best you're going to find, along with the goats. I mean, relatively. I try to make it so the common man can go on it, and my overhead isn't that high. So
cool.
Well, you own your own place. You've been there for a long time, so that's a big benefit that you can offer. And then you could do both ways, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like what I did, which was the backpack spike out, or living out of the lodge and actually doing the closer range stuff. So
in the fishing, I got a 5-day trip, 5 days, 5 nights, 5 full days of fishing for $3,000.
Wow.
So,
and you walk away with a lot of fish on these trips.
You do.
Wax boxes full of fish.
You'll catch your annual supply of halibut and salmon.
Yeah.
Annual supply, and his idea of annual supply is way more than most people think about.
My freezer's got 2 Sitka black-tailed deer and a lot of halibut in it right now.
That's awesome.
So it was a lot of fun.
Sweet.
Well, cool, Brian. Thank you. Thanks again.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you jumping on with us, Brian.
Enjoy the rest of the show, and all you people listening out there, you ought to come to this next year.
Yep, SCI is a fun show to come to. And you can look us all up. We're all going to be here.
That's right.
That's
Safari
exactly
Club
right.
International, Brian Peterson, Master Guide and Outfitter. Check him out online.
I've been here 25 years. I've been going to SCI.
Good for you. Yeah.
Man, when you see his brownies that he has,
I'm going to go on his website and take a look. I may be emailing him at some point, too, because Kodiak Brown Bear's on the list. So
it's all down here from there.
Yep.
Cool.
That's right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for jumping on.
All
Thanks,
right,
Brian.
Thank you.
Take
Appreciate
care.
it.
All right.
Hey everyone, this is Lucas Paw, host of the RNA Outdoors podcast. Please check out Podbean and iTunes. If you have an iPhone or iPad, go to the podcast app on your device, search for RNA Outdoors, and hit the purple subscribe button. When doing this, it will automatically upload when new podcasts are loaded, and they will download into your queue. For Android users, you can access the podcast through Podbean, Stitcher, or use our website, www.rnaoutdoors.com/podcast. In addition, under the RNA Outdoors podcast channel, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. These reviews help boost our popularity and outreach. You can also follow us on our social media outlets, Twitter at RNA Outdoors, Facebook, RNA Outdoors, and Instagram, Rod and Arrow Outdoors. All links are in the show notes as well. If you like what you've heard, we hope you'll pass along our channel to your friends and colleagues. Keep up the good fight. We cannot sit by and watch the public lands devoted to wildlife protection wither away. There's simply too much at stake. Make your voice heard, speak up, and get involved with conservation efforts, and know that every little bit helps. As we say on the mountain, go farther, stay longer.